my other subjects. Indeed, it is on this day, the 20th of July, in the year of our Lord 1536, I did lose of my son, Henry FitzRoy, Duke of Richmond and Somerset, a prince of mine own blood, 17 years of age, a youth, I but a fine one, of strength, prowess, of wit, and of a memory. Death did claim him, and my heart is sore. He was born in June of the year 1520 to my Lady Elizabeth Blount, a woman of my court and loyal. In those days I was still wed to my first wife, Catherine of Aragon. But FitzRoy, thou must know, he was not some passing trifle. Nay, I loved him dearly, and I made him a duke. The first Duke of Richmond created from my hand, the only acknowledged son I had then, and, for some time, the only one I thought might live to rule. Indeed. He was clever, and he was obedient. He took well to learning in arms. I saw in him what a king's son should be. 'Tis true, he was born outside the sanctity of marriage, but thou must understand, in the eyes of many, FitzRoy was still a prince, and indeed I saw to have him raised as such. And some whispered, yes, they whispered, that he might be named heir. But fate, cruel fate, he was ever of delicate health, and in his 17th year he was taken what we do now believe was the consumption, the sweating sickness, or the lung rot. He died at St. James's Palace, and though I am a king, and of very many, I tell thee truly that this loss did wound me. When my son did perish, my wife, Queen Anne Boleyn, yet lived, but not for long. For, indeed, earlier that May, she did lose of her head. So although she did not live to see his death, she did live to see his decline. In that brief span, I buried a son, an ex-wife, and a queen from the scaffold. Canst thou fathom such a weight? The Lord alone knoweth how I stood. FitzRoy's death did mark the turning of the tide. I had thought to leave England to a strong son. Instead, I was left to face the truth, and that I had no lawful male heir. My daughter, Mary, by Catherine, was declared legitimate. Anne's child, Elizabeth, so the baby was likewise disinherited. I was king of a realm without a future, and yet FitzRoy's death did serve as a lesson, a painful one, and it showed me how fragile life is, and how quickly fortune turneth. Some say I was cold in mourning him, but kings cannot mourn as common men do. I had a realm to rule. Indeed, still, when I did write of him, I called him our dearest son, as so he was. In death he hath received the rights and remembrance owed to his station. Would that thou have lived, my son, Mayhap thou wouldst have ruled after me. Mayhap thou wouldst have had sons of thy own. Mayhap thou wouldst have brought peace to England before blood ever did fall at Whitehall again. But such is the will of God, and who am I to question the Almighty? I remain his servant, and England's sovereign. But I shall not forget thee, FitzRoy, nor shall any who love thee. I was born a son, lived a duke, and died as nobly as any prince. And ye, my subjects, the name FitzRoy does come from, I believe, Anglo-Saxon English. Fitz meaning son of, and Roy meaning king, therefore meaning Fitz, therefore forming FitzRoy, which in fact does mean son of the king, and has been used for many illegitimate sons of kings. Indeed, he was one of many of mine, yet he was the only son I did ever claim to be mine, despite being illegitimate. I thank thee for hearing my heart this day. Remember him, Henry FitzRoy. God grant him peace, and God save the king.